Hello and welcome to this episode of Health and You. I am Sumi Sukanya Datta. It is that time of the year again when the worsening air quality in most North Indian cities and particularly in Delhi NCR has started hitting the headlines internationally. While this is nothing new and there are no quick fixes to address this, it's important to understand its impact and what can we do to reduce the risks associated with air pollution. To discuss this, we have eminent pulmonologists Dr. G.C. Khilnani and Dr. Arvind Kumar. Both Dr. Khilnani and Dr. Arvind have been associated with the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi in the past. Dr. Khilnani is now the chairman of PCRI Institute of Pulmonary Critical Care and Sleep Medicine. Dr. Arvind is the chairman Institute of Chest Surgery, Chest Oncosurgery and Lung Transplantation with Medanta Hospital in Gurgaon. Thank you so much, Dr. Khilnani and Dr. Arvind, for joining us in the conversation today. We'll start by asking you, Dr. Arvind. We largely know the problems that air pollution creates, and it's not respiratory problems alone. But if you could please summarize for the benefit of our viewers, why should this yearly cycle concern all of us? Yes, Dr. Arvind.
First of all, my greetings to all your viewers, and thank you for uh, asking me to join in this show. Air pollution, which is usually understood by people as a chemical or an environmental issue, is
Right.
a pure health issue because it impacts health of everyone who's breathing and even those who have not yet started breathing but are getting the blood from the womb of their mothers, which means the fetus, the baby in the mother's womb. From baby in the mother's womb to an elderly person, anyone who breathes is impacted by the effect of air pollution. So when you breathe, when a pregnant mother breathes in polluted city, the toxins enter through her lung and through her blood, go to the fetus and start damaging the fetus from various congenital defects to growth retardation to early delivery to death inside to problems after birth. All kinds of issues are known. When they are born, they breathe this air, and therefore, from bronchiolitis, which is the term we use for rapid breathing in the newborns, to all kinds of chest infections, pneumonias, cancers, all kinds of problems in childhood are known. And now we know that it causes retardation of the growth of the lungs, it causes effect on the brain. In fact, from brain to toe, there is no organ which is not affected by air pollution.
Right.
Lungs are the portal of entry, so they have the maximum branch. But heart, kidneys, brain, liver, immune system, reproductive system, you name an organ and it is impacted. So when it is impacting everybody from a baby in the mother's womb to an elderly person, all ages, both sexes, irrespective of caste, creed, color, etc., etc., it's a serious health issue, and therefore we cannot afford to ignore it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for replying to that question, Dr. Arvind. Dr. Khilani, like Dr. Arvind also mentioned, there's nobody who's not impacted. But are there any particular population groups which are particularly impacted by, this growing menace of air pollution? And if yes, why and how?
So, to add to what Professor Arvind has already said, the Chicago study, which came in October last year, clearly said that average lifespan of child at birth in India is reduced by 5.3 years, and average lifespan of a Delhiite is reduced by 11.9 years. So, when you say the reduction in life expectancy, it also means tremendous amount of suffering and morbidity as well as mortality. And this was evident during COVID time when the places which were more polluted, like North Italy as compared to South Italy, and in Germany and in USA, where the organized data were available, wherever the wherever the pollution was high, the mortality to COVID was high. Why I'm telling you in response to your question that suppose there is an outbreak of influenza which keeps occurring If the air pollution is more, then the mortality and the ICU admission would be more. The people who are affected are young children below 5 years of age and also elderly because they are the vulnerable population, and also the people who are suffering from diseases like heart diseases or lung diseases, asthma, COPD, and also the people who are immunosuppressed, maybe because of diseases like maybe rheumatoid arthritis or diabetes for that matter, which occurs in 40% of people over than 40 years, and also those people who are immunosuppressed, be it they are maybe cancer patients or on chemotherapy. These are the people who are worst affected, but virtually everybody is affected.
Yeah. So at an individual level, again, this is a question that is asked every year because there are not many options available by which we can bring down our risk. But are the available options like N95 mask or purifiers, are they effective? Are there any other things that we can do to sort of reduce our individual risk of
So,
harmful effects?
if I could answer that question, every house except my house has air purifier, and people do walk with the simple mask. And during COVID time, we said that you put on any mask, you put on cloth, you put a handkerchief, to prevent transmission. Unfortunately, the simple mask or surgical mask is of no value as far as the air pollution is concerned. I'll just be very brief. So, if you want to be protected and still you have to go out in a crowded place, then N95 mask should be used. The air purifier, to my mind, should be should may be useful. May be useful. There is no scientific evidence for people who are vulnerable, and that group I have already. Other than this, people actually should avoid going to the crowded markets and crowded places where there's the air pollution is not uniform. If you take from the intersection, if you go for 10 meters, 20 meters, 50 meters, the concentration of PM 2.5 keeps on reducing. So it's different at different places. So especially the crowded places should be avoided.
Yeah, Dr.
Thank
Arvind,
you.
would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, I would. I have very strong views about air purifier and mask, and I would compliment what Professor Khilani just said. So, as he said that simple cloth mask or surgical mask does not prevent the going of particles and chemicals which are there. N95 does, but then the the it has to be worn properly. You have to have your nose and mouth completely covered, and you should be breathing entirely through the N95. Now all of us have worn N95 during COVID period, and we know that if you wear it for a little longer than an hour or so, you start having that suffocating feeling and choking feeling. So I want to ask this question to the viewers: can anyone think of a life where for the next 3 4 months that we are going to have AQI more than 300 400 in North India? Can all of us be wearing masks 24/7? If no, then
No.
it's not a solution to the problem of air pollution. As Professor Kilani said, well, for a temporary period, when you are passing through suppose you are passing through a very, very crowded crossing and it's worse than the average area, you could probably protect yourself temporarily. But to say that mask is a solution to air pollution, the answer is a big no. People are often giving masks to their children when they are going to schools, but children wear the mask when they leave the house. The moment they are in the bus, they remove the mask. In the school, the mask is actually lying in front of the neck or the chin. You can't expect the whole country to be wearing mask 24/7. Likewise, air purifiers do help if you close the windows and close the doors and the air handling capacity of the purifier is equal to the volume of the room, but it helps only for the time that you are in that room. Now, can all of us confine ourselves to our bedrooms 24/7 for the rest of our life till the air outside is cleaned up? No, we can't do that. It's not possible. So, therefore, as of today, both Professor Khilani and myself, as chest doctors, we recommend air purifier to highly vulnerable. For example, when I discharge my patients after lung surgery, where I remove one lung or half of lung, and they are extremely prone to serious problems, we do recommend. But this is for a specific, highly prone population. But if the somebody's question is air purifier a solution for the problem of air pollution? The answer is a big no. Air pollution is a public problem. There has to be public solution, which is reducing the air pollution to occur at source, letting the air polluted, and then hoping that we will clean it by air purifier, or we'll prevent it from going inside by mask, is not a solution and has not been done by any country in the world which has addressed the problem of air pollution.
Yeah. So, in fact, I was coming to that. What Indian cities are now facing has also happened in some other countries in the past, in China, for instance, in some US cities as well. But they have some, by taking certain measures, they have been able to turn around the situation quite a bit. Do you see that possibility happening in India anytime soon? Do you see any sort of seriousness on the part of policymakers to address this massive problem that we
Well,
have?
that's a serious question that you are asking with a lot
Yeah.
of political connotation. But I can give you an evidence that the Chicago study also said that China took air pollution on war footing. If you 10 years back, if you went to Beijing, you will feel the same way as today we have in Delhi. But China's life expectancy has gone up by 2.2 years. So it is on the, and there's a very eminent, elegant study done by Dr. Mukesh and Dr. Dikshit, two civil engineers from IIT Kanpur, and they have
Mm-hmm.
actually mapped out that if you clean the road, do the vacuum cleaning of the roads 4 times in the month, only 4 times. If you carpet the sides of the road with some greenery, if you take precautions for doing the demolition and construction activity with full precaution as it is taken, if you stop the municipal burning, waste burning, and if you stop the the this tandoors, which are 9,000 in the city of Delhi, then you reduce the pollution by this many points. And actually, it is more than, if you do all these small, small things, the pollution reduces by more than 50%. We are not talking about stubble burning, but we are talking about small, small things which are doable.
Right.
And sprinkling and smoke towers, this is not a solution to it. And long-term policies have to be formed and implemented also. So it requires commitment on the part of our policymakers and administrators to do that.
Yeah. Dr. Arvind, we would also like to hear you on this. What do you think about it?
Well,
Because you
I
have a
have
very strong view.
I would echo every word of what Professor Kilani said, but I would re-explain it in two words that if you look at all the sources of air pollution, you can actually summarize them in two words. That is dust and smoke. And if I may use a Hindi word, dhul, that is dhu and dhua. So we call it dhu dhu, धूल and धुआं, dust and smoke. So dust coming from any source, if you remove, you will drastically reduce the particulate matter. And it's not rocket science. If you just walk on the road, drive on the highways, you would see that one small attitudinal change by our municipal bodies, that as soon as they dig up a road, there should be a pressure on the contractor that you have to resurface it immediately. We see it every day. The road is dug up, the work is done, and then patch is left kacha. 2-3 months later, some agency comes and resurfaces it. And for that 2-3 months, all hundreds and dozens of cars are going over it, and you have cloud of dust there adding to the air pollution. Likewise, highways, there is always a kacha patch which is left. Construction sites are a huge source. So there are these completely 100% controllable methods of reducing dust, that is dhool. Likewise, we are always blaming Diwali or Parali for the pollution. But Professor Khilani mentioned about IIT Kanpur. Similar studies have shown that while Diwali and Parali does add to the pollution, but the pollution had started even before Diwali and even before Parali. So there are all these other sources. There is a lot of small fire burning which goes on in every street of our country. All those leaves and all the material is collected, and the sweeper will take it to one corner of the street and burn it. Likewise, in the parks, in a lot of commercial areas, people have shown that there is a lot of tire burning, plastic burning, waste burning. All this can be easily controlled if we had just one thing: political will to do it. It's not rocket science, as Professor Khilani said. We talk about using helicopter for giving a water rain. We talk of smog towers. It's a colossal waste of public money. It's nothing but befooling people. Small, hard concrete steps taken to reduce dust and reduce smoke can reduce pollution by a great extent. I'm not saying it will disappear or will match US standards, but there will be a drastic reduction leading to an immediate improvement in the health parameters of our people, because otherwise it's damaging the health of the present and the future generation in a horrific way.
That was very insightful, Dr. Arvind. We hope some policymakers listening to this conversation also take heed to that. With that, we wrap up this conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. Arvind and Dr. Silvani, for joining us.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you.
Thank
appreciate
you. And
taking time.
Shubha Deepavali to you.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much to you as well.